All right, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here for the first season of Marriage to Medicine. This is season 1, episode 1, and it's titled Ghosts of Girlfriend's Past. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. All right, man, I first have to say I love it when you see a television show that has educated black people on it, black men, black women. I just love seeing our people that are educated. It just does something for me. Like in my job, it just does something for me. When I find people in my department that went to college and got college degrees, I love that shit. Because, people try to downplay you and think that you're not educated when you actually are more educated sometimes than they are. Like in my last job, I had people who thought that I was, uneducated, and I had to correct them and tell them, unfortunately for you, I'm smarter than you think. I have a degree. But, enough of that. Let's get to the show. So, now I know I saw a lot of people tweeting, talking about, where is this background stuff coming from? Like, here we go to editing. It wasn't editing, you guys. What happened was, if nobody knows, Married to Medicine Los Angeles had a preview episode last week. And in last week's episode, we were introduced to the girls because Contessa is friends with Britton and she's friends with Dr. Imani. She went to college with both of them. So the stuff that you guys seeing from, clips of, it's not stuff that's they just pulled out the air. It's actually stuff that happened in the preview episode. Because Contessa, Simone, Heavenly, and Quad, they all went to Los Angeles and they met with Britton and they met some of the other girls. Speaking of Britton, she's the first one we see. So the backstory with Dr. Britton is she lives in LA currently. Her family actually is living in Florida. Britton left Florida to come to LA so she can find more opportunities for jobs in Los Angeles. So in this episode, we see her husband and her kids are there. And, and I think, I don't forget if it was Heavenly or it might have been Heavenly. Because, Heavenly asked Britton in last week's episode if she feels like, if she has questions about infidelity when it comes to her and her husband. She was like, no, I don't have any, thoughts of infidelity. And the reason why she doesn't feel any thoughts of infidelity, she didn't go into deep with it last week, but she did tell us this week that she and her husband, when they first got together, so the reason why she and Contessa are really close is they did go to college together and they also were in the army with each other. So her and her husband, when they first started dating, she was deployed. So they're used to having a long distance relationship with each other. I don't know if I could do a long distance relationship from my husband or wife or my kids. Like, I just couldn't do that. Like, I don't know. I mean, she does it, but that's just something that's not something that I could do. I couldn't be separated from my kids and I couldn't be separated from my spouse. Like, I just really don't think I could. But, it's working for Britton and it's working for her husband. So also we find out that Britton is kind of like a freelance. She's an anesthesiologist. So we kind of find out that she does, she goes where she's needed. So say if there's a doctor that's on vacation or there's a doctor that just took some time off, Britton will go in and fill in for that doctor. So yeah, she's basically freelance. She gets paid on that. And, like I said, there are more job opportunities in Los Angeles than there are in Florida. Because I think she said in Florida, there's just one hospital where you can do it at, but whereas in Los Angeles, she can go anywhere she wants to. But now she just has to figure out how to bring her family from Florida to Los Angeles. She'll figure that out. All right, so next we meet Asha. Asha is going to get Botox. And I'm like, Botox, Asha? Like, this is the first thing we meet with you. Technically, it's not the first time we've met Asha. Last week in the episode, Asha was having a 2-year anniversary party with her husband, Larry, who is I forgot what kind of physician he is, but he's a doctor. So Asha is one of the doctor's wives. So she's meeting with Dr. Noel. We find out that she and Dr. Noel have known each other since they were 5 and 6 years old. So they've known each other for years. So then they talk about, the party that she had. Noel really liked the party. And then they talk about, so also in last week's episode, So Noelle is not Noelle, but Asha. She is what 39 years old, and she's not had kids, but she wants to have kids with her husband Larry. So in last week's episode, Dr. Simone was telling Asha all the facts about women who have kids later on in life. So they were just going over that kind of stuff. What did they? I forgot what they call the pregnancy. It's not a geriatric pregnancy like Asha was trying to say to her husband. They have a medical term for the pregnancy. So speaking of Asha and her husband, Dr. Larry, we see them in bed together. So Asha is telling him that she looked up medical terms for women who choose to have kids later in life, and she didn't ask him if he is ready to have kids. He says, "Are you ready to have kids?" She says, "I think." She says, she thinks she's at the point where she is ready to have kids. But Larry, you can clearly see Larry does not want no fucking kids. Because then he starts talking about how, he wants to look at the finances and he want to make sure that the finances are good before they decide to add a kid, which I definitely agree with that. Kids are expensive, but you're a doctor and she said she's an actress. I don't know what she's acted on. You know what she said? She said she had her own little series that she's doing. So, and she had not Debbie Morgan, that is from All My Children. She had what is Felicia Rashad's sister's name? Debbie Allen. She had Debbie Allen a part of it. But like I said, Larry doesn't seem like he wants kids, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Greg and Quad 2.0. I'm like, no. Please don't give me another Greg and Quad. I'm like, we dealt with that for so many seasons about Greg and Quad having kids. Please don't bring it back reincarnated on another franchise. Whew. All right, so then we get introduced to Dr. Imani, who's a psychiatrist. Dr. Imani is so gorgeous. She's tall. She's chocolate. She's got the bald head. She is stunning. They're all actually beautiful women. Britton's beautiful. Imani's beautiful. Asha's a pretty woman. But yeah, Imani, I think my two favorites are going to be Britton and Imani. And also Britton, I forgot to mention this, Britton is biracial. A lot of people couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure it out either. I thought she was white, but she's biracial. But back to Dr. Imani. So we see Dr. Imani. She is going out to dinner with her husband and her son, who is 11 years old. So, Dr. Imani, she met her husband. I forgot when she said she met her husband, but he's part of a group named Portrait. I don't know anything about the group, unfortunately. What else about Dr. Imani? Oh, also her son. So her son is not her husband's child, which I think that's cool that he was able. I think she said her son was 20 months old when they first got together. I think that's really cool that he stepped in and he, said, I'm going to love you and your son. I think that's absolutely fantastic and amazing of a man. Then she's talking about how she had a conversation with Dr. Noel. And the conversation with Dr. Noel was her father left, came out, was out of her life at 11 years old, because that's when her mom and her dad split up and her dad was on drugs. So she hasn't really talked to her dad. And Dr. Noel was just telling her, hey, sit down with your daddy, have a conversation with him, hear him out. So I'm guessing at this point in his life, I guess he's clean and not on drugs. I definitely agree with Dr. Noel. Sit down with your dad, have a conversation with him, tell him how you felt, listen to his side of the story. And then, if you guys want to form and forge a relationship at this point in your life, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, I hope she does sit down with him, and do it. Don't do it for him. Do it for yourself to, put closure in your life. So, we'll move on. But again, Dr. Imani is absolutely gorgeous. I had to follow her on IG because I just couldn't get over how stunning she is. God, she's beautiful. All right, so then we are introduced to Shanique. Shanique is a doctor's wife as well. Her husband is Dr. Robert, who is an ER physician. Shanique tells us that she manages over 400 residential homes. I'm like, fist pump of righteousness for the black girls who are doing it. Like, get that money. So yeah, we see her interacting with her husband and her family. So then we see her. She's with her friend Jasmine, and So she and Jasmine are both doctors' wives, and they're kind of ditzy, but I like them. Nothing's wrong with them at this point. So they are doing this photo shoot because her husband loves gummy bears, which I do too. Gummy bears are so good. And she's having this Jamaican themed party for him for his 38th birthday party. So this is what the photo shoot is for. It's a gift for him. Again, he likes gummy bears, and she's doing a sexy photo shoot for him. Nothing else to that. All right, so then we are going to move over to his 38th birthday party. So we see Asha, and she's FaceTiming with Dr. Imani, and she's talking about her husband Larry's not coming to the party because he has to work. So she invited Dr. Heavenly because Dr. Heavenly is out there in Los Angeles doing some work. I'm like, bullshit. She out there filming with y'all, but whatever. If they like it, I love it. So then we do see Heavenly, Imani, and Asha. They're in the car together. Heavenly, she likes all the girls, but she manages to get Brittany's name wrong. She calls Britton Bridget. Kind of like what she did with Contessa when she kept calling Contessa. I'm like, oh God, Heavenly girl, you just really know how to work people's nerves, don't you? So then we see, Britton and her husband show up, and Shanique is talking to Britton about her kids. So I'm guessing Britton's kids are getting ready to go back to school. So I'm assuming Britton's kids are still in school in Florida, which they got. She got to figure that out some way. Like, damn, I thought that when she went to Los Angeles, it was a fine, try to figure out how things were going to work for her and her kids. So I'm like, so you moved to Los Angeles, you are working, but you didn't try to find a school for your kids. You have a house, but like I said, Britton, she'll figure it out on her own, her and her husband. And I think if you listen to her husband talking, I think her husband is a little tired at this point because he's doing it all. He gets the kids ready for school. He takes the kids to school. He just doesn't have enough time in his day before he has to go and get the kids from school. So I definitely, oh God, I couldn't imagine how that feels, but whoo. But they want to find more stability. She wants to find stability for her kids because she doesn't want her kids going back and forth, which I definitely get that. But I thought that was the point of you going to Los Angeles. I could be wrong, but it is what it is. And let's speak about Dr. Imani because she told us that her boobs are not real, but I'm like, shit, I don't give a fuck if your boobs are fake, but your body is sick as hell. Whoo! I just can't get enough of Dr. Imani. So then we see Dr. Robert. He unwraps his gift, and it's the photo of Shanique in the tub with the gummy bears around her. So then Shanique is telling the other girls that Dr. Larry's ex-girlfriend is there, and Dr. Noel, she wasn't really there for it. And then Asha comes over and they ask, and she's like, "What's going on over here?" And they tell her, "Oh, well, girl, shit, we talking about you right here." And she's like, "What y'all talking about?" "Oh, well, bitch, yeah, your man's ex-girlfriend, she's right there, but act like she's not here." So then Asha gets in her feelings about it, and she's like, "But I thought you said you and her weren't really friends." She said, "We're not friends." She said, "I just met her when I moved out here to LA." And she said, "Well, when was that?" 2012. And she said, "I'm not cool with her, but my husband, he's friends with her because they went to they did a residency together." And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, why is Asha so upset? Like, I don't get that. Like, if you're his wife and that's his ex, I don't think they said ex-wife, I think they said ex-girlfriend. If that is his ex and you are the current wife, why are you in your feelings? And then number two, your man ain't there. So I still didn't get why Asha was so upset. I was actually with Jasmine, like, girl, bitch, just flash the fucking ring and be like, "Oh, look at my ring. Do you see my ring, bitch? Do you see my ring?" Like, that's all you got to do. But, it is what it is. Shanique calls Asha insecure, which I definitely agree with that. She is insecure. And she was putting 20 on 10. Shout out to Forest Rocks for that one. So then Imani, she pulls Asha and she pulls Shanique to the side. And she's like, "You know what? This is Robert's party. Let's have a good time. Y'all can talk about that shit at another time. Like, let's let that shit go by the wayside." And I definitely agree with that. And then here come Heavenly's old messy ass. So Heavenly is with the shits with these girls. She want to know what's the tea with the ex-girlfriend and Dr. Larry. So, you know, the ex-girlfriend says that she knows Shanique's husband because they did a residency together. Her and Dr. Larry, they've been broke up for, you know, years. They haven't saw each other in years. And, you know, so Heaven is like, so do you still love him? She's like, no. And Heaven's like, look me in my eyes and tell me that. She says, no. So then Heavenly goes and get Asha. And Asha, you know, she said, I had a conversation with the bitch. She don't want him. And she takes Asha, and Asha like, I don't want to talk to her. So then we see Heavenly and Asha leaving. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? Now, Britain, she did say that it was messy. I do, to an extent, I do agree with them that it was messy. But if Asha, I'm not Asha, but if Shanique didn't invite her, how y'all getting mad at her? That's his party. That's his friend. He invites who he wants to invite. So I really want 100% understanding that shit. But I think Marriage to Medicine LA is going to be really good. I hope Bravo does right with it. You know, I hope they don't treat it like they did Marriage to Medicine Houston. And I hope they don't do it like they do Marriage to Medicine Atlanta. But that was it for the first episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys later.